So hello and welcome, I'm Frederick Dunn and this is The Way to Bee. Today I want to show you my favorite, so far, observation hive for honeybees. That's the entrance for it all the way to the left there. And if you notice, all the observation hive entrances to this building have unique physical configurations. That helps the honeybees find the colony that they live with quicker. Of course, as they get closer, they go right inside when they smell that things are correct in there. But from a distance, if you make things geometrically different, they find it quicker and there's less zipping around and drifting from hive to hive. So this is the Way to Bee Academy building. I'm going to show you the inside as well, of course. We're going to go over some of the basic specifications. This is the ivory bee hive sitting on the porch. It is technically an observation hive because it has a 180-degree viewing window. So inside the building, let's take a look. Look at the size of this observation hive, and it has some differences when compared to the others that I've used in the past. And this was built by, I should give a shout out to Rickey and Ruth Roark. They used to have a company called Horizontal Bees, and I drew this out and I sent him the sketch, and he built it from my specs. And then I picked it up at the very first North American Honeybee Expo. So that's right, it's been sitting around for a while. I built a strong back for it right here on the bulkhead and ran a 45-degree 2x6. Everything is 2x6s here. And then I bolted it up so it will support a lot of weight. Now this painting is done by Melinda Ruth Roark. But guess what's behind it? That's right. This is my screened bottom board area where I can put a tray in here, or I can put an insert of core flute, and we can evaluate what kind of things drop through. Hopefully some varroa mites that aren't too happy. That'll be great. Held on by magnets, of course. And then we scoot on up and we have two large diameter holes here that we can use for anything we want, with another excellent painting by Ruth. So again, held on with magnets, and then we pull these inserts out. These are 2.5 inches in diameter, and look how thick that is. So we have really nice thick sidewalls. I can introduce a queen this way. I can add a feeder tube and put a feeder on the side. There are lots of options. The bees, of course, are going to propolize this up. And you went the extra yard and you put some aluminum flashing around each of those. So, looking inside, we'll take a quick look here overall. Now, I'm not giving you comprehensive specs here. You can do your own thing, but I will tell you this is set up for 12 deep Langstroth frames. And of course, on top here, he put some gasket material in and created a box that houses what? Feeder jars. Once again, they are on number 8 hardware cloth, and we can use inverted jars to feed our bees if we need to get them going. And there is a gasket that goes around the whole edge. I would make a recommendation though, make it even taller so you can put larger jars in. These are kind of small, but hopefully with any luck the bees won't need auxiliary feeding, but if they do, we'll be putting sugar syrup in there with Hive Alive added, I'm sure. And so when we put the cover on here, that's it. The total height of this thing is 55 inches. This isn't plastic. See, I don't like plastic windows. I don't like plexiglass because it's hard to keep it clear, and the whole point of an observation hive is to see extraordinary detail. And so that's tempered glass. It also only opens on one side right here. And it has, he put a nice finish on this, and but you know, we don't open these very often. It's very rare that we have to get in there. I also want you to make sure that your jars, when they're inverted, come down and make contact with that hardware cloth. I have to work these up a little bit. They did not come all the way down. And notice that we're set up around bee space. It's really kind of all you need to know when it comes to building your own observation hive. We want bee space from the end of each frame that we put in. The entrance here faces the south. And so we want 3/8 of an inch there. The other thing is 1.25 inch diameter entrance tube here, which is just PVC pipe. But look at this goopy stuff I put around it. This is a waterproof sealant. It's called a mastic or a sealing putty, and it looks wet, but it's not. It actually sets up. So I kind of like that. You could close up stuffing tubes and things like that, but air doesn't pass around it. Insects don't chew it, and you're making sure that you're closing off any drafts into your observation hive building. So really good stuff. I probably could have done a better job. Anyway, So when we look at it, I am stocking this up, of course, with deep frames, but look at the space above the frames. We want to see that because we want to see the bees get to their feed. Also, you want the distance between the bottom of the frames above and the top of the frames below to be bee space, 3/8 of an inch. So on the ends of the frames, 3/8 of an inch gap, and above and below, 3/8 of an inch, with the exception of the very bottom frame. So we have a frame here that is open, if you notice, and that's because they're going to make cut comb there, or foundationless comb. And we'll be able to see the bees do that. These frames are by 21st bee. They have holes in them so the bees can pass through. They are primed with beeswax. So we are also going to populate this hive with a very special colony of bees that I collected. How far back? It was May 26th that we found a swarm on the ground. And my grandson and I just took a pro nuke and let them walk into it. So they've lived this long. We're going to let them get into this hive and they will populate it. So you can stack these in here. So if you had 3 or 4 of them, just stack them up. And as you pull one out, you can set them on a table and teach the youngsters what they're finding on the bottom of a beehive. Everything from dead varroa mites to propolis to beeswax, you name it. So anyway, when you push it all the way forward, if you notice, there were stops in these grooves so that when the frames are pushed towards the glass, you want that distance also to be 3/8 of an inch. And you have to estimate, if you don't have standard Langstroth frames, you have to estimate how deep the comb is going to be. But we go from the shoulder of the frame, the part that bumps out the most there. So that's what it looks like. I'm also going to be bringing the bees in and showing you how I set it up. So I also, if you notice, I did put a medium frame at the bottom there because I want to see the bees coming and going through the entrance. And after that, we're going to be putting deep frames in because this Pro Nuke holds 5 frames of bees. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think that they were going to make it. Remember, as I said, back on May 26th, today is July the 22nd. I wanted to just see if they would walk into this 5-frame Pro Nuke hive. I mean, what were their options? The temperatures were in the 50s. It was raining. It was cold. And the bees just weren't going to make it on the ground. So here we are all this time later. And we did this install on July the 12th. And this video of these bees was on the 21st, yesterday. So they've been in this hive since the 12th. So we know that they have a queen. There are eggs, there's larvae at all stages, there are workers, there's nurse bees. And I think they've earned a spot here. Now, I don't want them to just fly all over the observation hive building, so I am going to vape them just a little bit. And I'm using the Apisalis vape. Keep in mind, we're in a confined space. We're indoors. So you couldn't do this with a bee smoker, not a regular one. So we use the vape, get them calm. Because if I took this lid off and just let them fly all over the building, not the end of the world, but we want most of them to go inside the hive. And there is a row of windows up along the top to my back there that you don't see, all facing south. That's where the bees go if they're flying free in the space. And then we just use a bee vac, draw them all off of there, and then we'll open that up outside at the entrance, and the bees will go right in. So they propolize this pretty good. There's beeswax. There's pretty decent brood. So I'm going to show you what I'm putting in here. And I do consider the hive to be oversized for the number of bees that we're putting in. And keep in mind that they only moved into this on July the 12th. So they're just building up, and it was a small cluster. There is a video that shows exactly what they looked like before, and I'll put that video link down in this video description so that you can see they were kind of pitiful. And I just decided, yeah, they kind of deserve to be in here, and this will allow us to watch them develop. Now, if we had started them off with just 6 deep frames or something smaller like that, they do develop quicker and they manage the space better. But we're going to also insulate this, and don't forget, it's in a sheltered location. So there is lots of brood here, looking good. I did not actually see the queen during the install, but we did see eggs. So we know when we see eggs that the queen was there within the last 3 days at least. And also they seem very calm. It's surprising how few of them are flying out all over the space, although when I'm populating observation hives, this is how I do all of them. I might bring in a hive butler toad or something like that. And if I decide to boost this colony a little more, and I have another colony in my apiary that's just too populated, which is still a problem, I can pull a frame of capped brood and fortify this colony. But right now, they have more than enough going on. So for the third level there from the top, I'm putting this one in pairs. When you put them in pairs, that interfacing brood is more easily warned and managed by your bees. And in a perfect world, we'd put them in triples, but I wanted at least the second level to have 2 or 3, and then the bottom one will also have 2. 5 total. So the second level down has 1. So heat rises, and there is no venting through the top of this hive. If you notice too, there's a bracket on the wall. It's a 2x6 that you see top left there. And so that's bolted to the vertical stud, and then the beehive is bolted to that, and then sitting on, again, the 2x6 strong back that I showed you at the bottom, more than strong enough to handle a fully loaded hive of this size. Now you'll also notice that the hive sets kind of low, and that's because if we have 4-year-olds coming in here, and we often do, they can now see the bees without being lifted up. And also the reason why we wanted tempered glass, other than the fact that it's very clear. So you will be able to see the bees through the glass for the ending half of this video, because you're also going to listen to the bees inside the hive, and you're going to see how clear a view we have when we look at them. Now this is kind of tight quarters there against that back wall, but it is big enough to fit a nice comfortable chair, and you can sit there with your cup of favorite drink, and you can just sit and watch the bees and listen to them. So now there are leftover bees in the Pro Nuke. I'm just looking around to make sure the queen's not there. If she was there, of course, I'd get her out. And how would I get her in the hive? Well, I'd just pick her up and put her right on one of the frames. Now, being that they're just workers, all I have to do is go out, hold that nuke at the entrance, and they all went out and into the hive. I'm using the Apisalis vape to get the bees out of the crevice so that when we close the door, we don't have the crunch of death. So they do respond to it nicely, and the good news about a vape system like this is the bees don't respond to it for an extended period of time the way they would smoke. So it doesn't shut down production in the whole hive, it just moves the bees out of your way, and then you can put them right back to work and put your gear right back where it belongs. And in this case, that means closing up the door. So there it is. It's that easy. So that's kind of what we did. The hive by itself, without the top and bottom, is 43 inches tall, and from front to back it's 6 1/4 inches, and we have to take care of it. We have to keep it warm. So for now, I'm just putting double bubble over it. I've tied it with 3 ropes, and I've double layered the double bubble up against the glass, and that's going to keep them just as warm as the woodenware would. I haven't decided on final insulated covers yet, but this keeps the light out and keeps them warm. So for the rest of this video, I'm just going to let you watch them and listen to the audio that we recorded inside this hive. I want to thank you for watching. I'm Frederick Dunn, and this has been The Way to Bee.